As we've seen in elite sports, there's always some young generational talents who threaten to dethrone the superstars. Think Messi at 19 or Yamal now at 17. The VS Gaming eDisky League is no different. Due to the growing interest in the game from young talent, we officially have a high school league for eDisky. So I'm wondering, should our pro players be worried about the Ntwanas who are up and coming?
I think so, because you have to remember something, right? All of the pro players, all the ones that are at the top, at some point they were the Ntwanas.
Yes.
They were on the come up, right? But the difference is, back then, there wasn't an opportunity to get really, really good, right? You'd be good amongst your friends, you know, your small little group. Then you go play some real plays, you get trapped, demolished, destroyed, finished. And you even killed your love for playing the game, right? But then now, these players, they've experienced winning, they've experienced losing, they've experienced training, right? So by the time they get to play the big pros, they're not going to be scared of these men no more. They'll be in that position where we have experience now. We're not just coming fresh, blind, and going to be completely blindsided.
Yeah, no, I think Sneh is touching on a hectic topic right now. Us oldies, you know, we didn't have this infrastructure that they have now. I think a lot of schools are invested right now in esports. You're walking in and you're already seeing these facilities, there's centers, there's auditoriums, arenas ready for this kind of, you know, action that you get on the main stage already. So by the time when the big orgs are looking, you know, for these fresh players, now they have a place to go to, you know. We've almost gotten into this stage. I don't know if you guys, you know, remember those high school days. You'd have those guys that come in, do trials, you know. This is almost kind of become, you know, trials here in the HLES. I think that's where we're at. You're kind of starting the stepping stone into becoming a top level pro.
I remember when I was gaming as a young kid, it was just a thing that you did by yourself or with your friends. You know, you're chilling on the couch, split screen, you have some fun. Do you think parents nowadays are taking it seriously, considering that it's a big job? It's a big job. You can make a good amount of money. You can make friends. You know, it's a social thing too. Do you think parents are taking it seriously?
I think it's one of these things where when we were kids, right, it was a hobby, but one of that you did
on the side.
On the side. You're not serious about this, né? Now it's different not only because it's more serious, but everybody, all the kids, right? Like all my nieces and nephews, right? All of them are gamers. It's not like any one of them doesn't know what esports is anymore. Not like any one of them doesn't have an idea of the kind of game they'd like to play. So for parents' perspective, they're just, I don't think they have a choice anymore. Whether they like it or not, they must just be like, I guess this kid is just gonna do this. You know, he comes home, he's not telling me about, no, I was learning about this and this at school. No, here's the game I want to play next week, right? Here's the tournament I want to go to.
Also, it's not like a niche thing anymore. Gamers used to be like, okay, there's those guys who like to play sports and those guys who like to game, or maybe you do music at school or you do something else, some different society. It's not a niche anymore. Everybody's got their foot in, kind of, and it just depends on who wants to take it to the next level or not. Do you feel like they're taking it seriously?
Yeah, I think they're taking it really seriously, parents nowadays, you know. Like with the infrastructures that are coming into the schools and it being introduced a lot into extracurricular activities, I think parents are really seeing that, okay, there's a potential that, you know, if my kid, yes, he's playing games, but there's definitely a career on the other side. I mean, look at us sitting over here. We basically do this as a career, the whole gaming thing. It's not really just also about being a pro player. There's a lot of avenues that you can kind of go into, but I think when we're looking and diving into, obviously, the pros kind of at that level, I think as a parent now, there's a lot more, you know, things that your child can do in terms of within gaming and esports, and there's so many options, right? There's a Rocket League, Counter-Strike, that's later in the season. You know,
also have to remember how much like these young kids and parents now, right? How much time people are spending just watching gaming, right? Just in sheer number of hours. Before it was really hard to access that kind of content, even if you wanted to try and find it, right? But now every kid has like 5 streamers they can name you off the top of their head who they love watching, right? The parents see this, and even if you think it's dumb, right? The kid tells you, hey, you know, the streamer's clocking 2 million a year. You're like, wait a minute. Like, okay, maybe it's not the dumbest thing. It's fine. We can continue.
Now, James, I want to ask you a question before we look into the future. Now, would you guys consider esports, our esports team, back Ikasi, putting the 50-cent coin on the machine and watching the other people play? I want to know when was the first time you guys heard of esports? Because for me, that was the esports for me. It was just not online. It was just a dance pass, but that was kind of esports.
I mean, if that counts, then I'm, you know, I've been an esports player since I was 5 years old, you know? We play like the winner stays on.
Yes.
You know? And we just keep doing King of the Hill.
Dude, we're still doing that now, man. Honestly. But I think for me, the first time I really said, yo, esports, is me and Subu had this Fortnite World Cup.
Yes, Booga.
Yeah, Booga. just seeing kind of that atmosphere that was created, this very new game as well at the time. I mean, now Fortnite, we know it's very old, but when it first came in, things were still really new, and I think they just took esports to another level, bringing like 100 players into one arena, and that's when I could see that, like, okay, wait, there's something more than just us playing games over here. Like, I'm trying to actually get good, and tell me why after that I thought that I could probably become a player.
You know what? I get it, dude. I get
Delusion,
it.
brother.
We were just talking about parents, and I remember from the highlights of that World Cup, Booga's parents were there. They were excited. Everybody's like, yeah, I'd be excited too if my kid became a millionaire overnight, just like that. So definitely there are people looking at it and thinking, yeah, no, as umzali, maybe I can give my child a chance to actually make a couple of $1 million, Futhi. Not just that. So you thought that you could put it in there at Fortnite, maybe next World Cup? Build some buildings there, shoot some guys.
I think he's washed.
Never. I'm old now, man. Reaction time is a little bit slow, you know.
I think with me, like, one of the funnier things is the first time that I ever found out about esports properly, right, was 2012, I think. When I was watching TI, the International, and I was like blown away as well, right? And that actually made me love Dota. Before I was like, I enjoyed Dota, played a lot of it, but after that I was like, we're playing all day, every day kind of situation. But I think what's interesting about esports for me is the fact that there's no direct path, except unless you're a player.
Sure.
There's no direct path to find yourself where we are now, right? 5-6 years ago, even if you're really into esports, you couldn't have imagined, okay, I'm going to be on the other side of the camera, or I'm going to be casting, or I'm going to be directing, or whatever. And for me, to illustrate this, my example, I was playing fighting games at the time. Like back then, I was still competing before I got washed. So I'm competing, and then there's one tournament I go to, a Mortal Kombat tournament. I get there, and I took some of my boys with me, right? None of them were Mortal Kombat players, like a Tekken guy, a Street Fighter guy. But we all play together normally. So I'm explaining to them what's happening, right? I'm like, okay, guys, look, these are the matchups, this is the situation, yada, yada, yada. Just having a conversation. Then the guy who organized the tournament, right? Sort of like a ghost, just showed up out of nowhere, has a mic.
Oh,
and I'm
now
like,
you have to work.
I'm like, what's this? And he's like, no, brother, just have the conversation you're already having, but do it on the mic. I wasn't sure how I felt about it, and he's like, if you do it, I'll make sure that your tournament registration for the next one is free, and I'll buy you drinks. Today
we are. And that's how you got into the commentating game.
I had no expectation walking in that day that I'd leave a caster, but here we are today.
Man, Sneh, whoever gave you that mic changed your life forever, because you could have been a banker, maybe, accountant, who knows what you could have been doing right now.
9 to 5, 10 to 10.
Yeah.
Too much.
I'm imagining young Sneh there, just, ID. Speaking of young players, let's unpack the HSCL leagues and learn more about the future stars of eDisky that you can find in this league. Gents, who are the future faces, the rising stars that you see coming up in this league?
Listen. I'm going to just say it clearly. When we get to season 7, season 8, we are going to be sitting here talking about the new champion, Hamza.
Okay.
New champ, future champ.
I agree.
I say nothing.
I agree.
He's coming, guys. He's coming.
I say
Hamza
nothing.
is the one.
Okay.
You don't look like you agree, Tendo.
I don't agree, honestly.
Tendo and I
I'm gonna come in over here, play a bit of devil's advocate, and say Rida. Rida, for me, Rida has started even younger than Hamza in terms of being in the eye of the scene. You know what I'm talking about? I think when we started hearing about Hamza, he's already a little bit older now. You know, he's 16, whereas Rida, we've been knowing about him since 13, about 14 years old, which means he's got technically more experience in a way in these high game situations, with pressure, with the brands around him already. I mean, he started in 80K, now he's moved on to Goliath Gaming. So for me, Rida is the future, man.
Okay, counterpoints, right? The thing with Rida, I definitely agree. He has that experience, has that pedigree, has a very good situation around him, right? Obviously, his brother's one of the best players in the country. He's part of one of the best gaming orgs in the country, training all the time, right? The thing with Hamza for me is that Hamza, I will give you that is more inconsistent than Rida, right? I'll give you that. Rida has demonstrated over many years that he can be very consistent, right? His floor is very high, but Hamza's ceiling, There's games where I'll see him do stuff that I know for a fact that other players just can't do. simply unable
We're
to
gonna
pull
get
that off.
there. We're gonna get there. It's fine. We're gonna get there.
Now, gents, some of these players are so good, they might even have an inflated ego right now. They've proven it. Why would they join HSEL? Like, what is the purpose of them joining?
Well, it's like Sandu was saying earlier, right? Experience is almost invaluable, right? You need to put yourself in those positions, playing real games, not just against your friends, not just playing online, but with actual stakes, right? You know who the opponent is, you have time to prepare. So it's a more tournament-appropriate situation for these young players. And to your point about ego, right? They need to get the ego smashed now. Because if you arrive at eDisky, and you still have that big head, you still think you're undefeatable, right? They will humble you. Those guys will put you back of the line, brother. You don't belong here. But then if you're in HSCL, take some time, you learn how to win, you learn how to lose, and learn how to improve. You can look at your own games and say, okay, here's how I can adjust and get better. So, in fact, if you think you're that good, that's more reason that you have to join HSCL. If nothing else, just to demonstrate in a real environment that you are that good.
Yeah, I think for me, it's about the systems that need to come in place, right? One thing that traditional sports has right now is the systems that are in place. I touched on this a little bit earlier. When I was in school, you knew, let me join rugby. Let me play for the school. If I play for the school, I'm gonna get to a trials. If I get in trials, I play for Lions. I play for Lions, I'm in the Springboks. You know what I'm talking about? So I think, yes, you can have a big ego. You can think that, look, I'm already destroying these guys in the high school esports league. Send me to eDisky. But if you can't prove yourself first at that school level and say that I'm consistently on top. From the moment I said grade 8 to matric, right, with this esports program that's in the school, I've been the best player. That is truly when I can say that, like, cool. This person has gone through, especially what schools teach you. Schools teach you how to be humble. Let's be honest, right?
That's true.
All the time we're being taught when we're in school how to be humble. Yes, we can win all these games, but keep your ego in check, guys.
I like that because you tend to notice it even with the traditional sports where, yes, you're the best at your school. Maybe you're a track athlete and nobody stands a chance. Next, you're in Gauteng Province Trials. You get cooked by the kids from the other school. I always knew rugby against other schools in the southern suburbs in Cape Town, we kill. Now we go play against Paul Roos, Paul Jim. Those Afrikaans boys are huge and they know how to play rugby. And then you realize, okay, that's why you have to get into the leagues. That's why you have to take it a step further so that now you're playing with everybody else, not just your mate that you know from class. And that really makes a difference.
I feel like you guys are not mentioning one of the most important things about being in a league, which is the friendship. The friendship that you gain there. Because gaming can sometimes be very a lonely thing.
Yeah, it can be so
look,
low.
I will say, compared to most scenes, right, I think almost everyone I know that's involved in EAFC, they're close, right? The eDisky scene, everyone is close. They're all homies. So I hear that point of yours. I think it's just sometimes about the camaraderie that you can get from being in this league and everyone kind of being at the same level, knowing that, like, all right, there's the big boys over there, but we've kind of got our thing going. We've got our thing going on over here as the youngsters. Let's try and progress our own game, help each other out. I think that's a really good point that you're raising.
You do see it at Comic-Con. The guys are friends backstage. They're all homies. But when you're sitting opposite each other, it's serious. Then it's against each other. But if you're watching them backstage, these guys are different orgs, but they're all homies backstage. Let's talk if now, George was talking about the egos and the young guys, why should they join? But now I've joined, okay? Now I'm inside. If I win the high school esports league, what's next for me? What's the next step that I can take?
Next step is trying to get yourself into a big org. Like we mentioned it last season, right? How important it is for a young player to find structure around them, right? A system that can enable them to succeed. So once you've won HSCL, I think, you age out of it, you can't keep playing it forever, right? But obviously the natural progression is eDisky, and we already have some players who've done both, right? While still doing high school esports league, they move over into eDisky. And I think we are starting to see more and more tournaments are filling the calendar, right? It used to be that outside of the finals, there's one big marquee event, right? But now there's actually a lot of football events. There's a lot of EAFC tournaments for these kids to play. You finish HSCL, you immediately start grinding. The people that you met, right? The friends you made with George, now you say, hey, brother, go talk to your cousin. I know your cousin knows somebody there at Nixa. They know somebody there at XC. They know somebody there at Bravado. Make me a plan. Put me on, dog. Make this happen for me. So that's the only thing that these players aren't really sure of yet, because it's a little bit difficult if you haven't gone through that process just yet. But you just win. Just keep winning, you can make it happen.
I believe in the underdog story. I believe some of the greatest are unsung heroes, and what that means is a year step. Okay, I've won high school esports league. Next step, joining an org. It's not that easy. At the end of the day, teams like Goliath are only going to take the very best. But technically, if you're like a top 8 player, you are some of the best, right? But it can be hard for you to break into that camp. Whereas I would say you win the league now, you know, you gotta fly solo a little bit and play these tournaments that you're mentioning, right? Like you said, the calendar is filled up right now. Just play the tournaments, buy your ace, make a name for yourself to start off with. That way, when you do go to, you know, the bigger teams, you know, the Nixers, the Goliath Gaming, the Bravados, you're like, all right, guys, clearly you can see that I've started in high school. Here I am now. I've played a couple of tournaments. Maybe I'm not winning the tournaments, but with your guys' structure, with the support, I will make it to the top.
Am I not absolutely terrified though to go to a tournament and see guys wearing Goliath Gaming on their back, Pirates shirts on their back as I'm entering the tournament?
I have a question for you. Do you think that's similar to what Uthman did this tournament?
Yeah, you know, I think if we're looking into the future, before we get too much into it, he's coming into this one. He has a lot to prove, Uthman. I think if at the end of it he does something spectacular, people will have eyes on him. People will start asking questions as like, oh wait, Uthman unsigned, maybe we can do something about it, you know. Whereas I think when you're already in an organization, yes, the eyes are on you, right? But there's expectations now as well, right? When you don't have that expectation of like, hey, I'm also playing for the org and the team and all the what's. When you're there and you're just thinking about mom and dad, it's better, you know, because at least your parents, unless you do something crazy, you can't disappoint them, all right, in that kind of situation.
And then both of you gents also mentioned, I like the fact that you mentioned that there's more tournaments now. The league is growing. There's more players, even bigger cash prizes. But what do you think, in your opinion, what do you think is missing?
One thing I do think is missing is we need to figure out, you see what we're doing now, right? This is a part of what's missing, is that we haven't fully figured out how to hype the players up properly. How to give them the proper regard that they have,
because they're a big deal, dude.
They are a really big deal, right? And you have to think about it, right? In South Africa, often, you know, I came from Dota, was my initial background, right? For years, lots of people knew Dota players, even if they weren't Dota players. Counter-Strike is really big in the country, you know, similar dynamic there. A lot of people know Counter-Strike players, even if they don't participate in the game themselves. What we need to do is get EAFC to that point, right? Where I might not have touched the controller in my life, but I know who Masum is, I know who Zaid is, you know, I know who Kalen is. So that's, I think, the one thing that's missing, because once you get that right, what you do is you create heroes. You create an icon, let's say in a Kalen, people look at this guy and say, I kind of want to be the next Kalen, right? I don't want to just be the best. I have a template of what I want to strive for, someone that will make me better, someone that will improve me just by watching them. So I think that's the only real thing that's really missing. But we're on the way. We're on the way. Given how it was back then, especially.
I think my argument now, you're saying what is really missing. I think for me, what is missing, right, is orgs as well being a little bit more involved in terms of like, all right, cool. We touched this topic last season about breeding superstars. I think it's also kind of what you're compacting over here. Let's get their names out there a little bit more. I think oftentimes you can find orgs that are stagnant in the country. Yes, people know about them, etc., but I'm never seeing a young interview coming out of a player.
Let's push the marketing budget.
Let's put the marketing budget a little bit.
Make merch.
Make the merchandise, Hamza, you know what I'm saying? Just to get them a little bit more brandable. Because at the end of the day, it's like traditional sports, right? What really sells is once you know that young Cristiano Ronaldo is on the team. Doesn't matter the team. I'm buying the jersey for that team. I might end up buying other jerseys, you know, from other esports, right? So I think for me, what's missing is just that bridge, I think, where now VS Gaming, here's an esports org. Let's collaborate a little bit more and see, like, now what can we do together to continue building the VS Gaming League as well, right? Because it's going to become an even bigger stage where there's going to be bigger eyes. You know?
I agree. I think we need to see more billboards. I want to see a Goliath game.
that'd be
Stanton Drive,
fire.
you know, in the morning in traffic. Guys are going to the World Cup, you know. There should be more marketing around that to show that that's actually happening. I really agree with that.
Let's get rappers to perform at halftime. halftime shows.
There you go.
Now you're talking. Wait.
Now you're going crazy.
Let's brainstorm.
They don't have to be super famous rappers to stop it, dude.
Maybe it's
But just
the
doing
rapper from the
something.
same high school. Who
Dude,
knows?
Yeah, you see, now you're cooking.
Yeah, I think,
You
you
can tell
know,
the man works in radio.
back on it, that's another thing. I think it's integrating some more of the media aspects from around the other media houses in terms of like esports is mostly broadcast related. I'd have to say, yeah, let's like you say, let's bring the musicians in now. Let them do that halftime show because you're getting more eyes. You know, you're getting more marketing out of it. I mean, today Wasabi's on something, man. He's been throwing.
Yeah, he's
some
throwing.
big
He's like,
stuff.
Write all this down.
Guys, please, write it all down.
Guys, so I went to a school in the early 2010s where we were pushing, no, I wouldn't say esports per se, but there was like a gaming society, and it's very lucky to have a school that has that kind of thing in the 2010s. Nowadays, every other school has it's not just a little society. They have rooms there. They have lessons that you can actually learn in gaming. What Mzansi areas do you feel like are really pushing the high school esports side of things?
We saw obviously a lot of the kids coming in from Cape Town. You know, I think
Shout out.
unfortunately,
Kapstad.
very similar to other dynamics in esports, right? It's always going to end up being Cape Town, some sliver of parts of Durban, and Gauteng, right? That's generally how things are going to break down. However, what I've seen is there's a big gap in the areas, right? So you have like a school or two in Pretoria, you must travel, get to like Midrand, travel to the next Kuro, then Centurio, travel until you
It's
get
fair,
to Johannesburg. It's fair, right? But I'm not sure if I think it's a good or a bad thing. Because if it's fair, right, that just means that necessarily different areas of the region are covered, right?
Yes.
You have an option far, it's far, but it's there. Here in the middle, there's another option, there's another option, there's another option.
Yeah.
So in terms of new regions that we wouldn't expect, I haven't unfortunately seen anything really massive come up. You know, I haven't really seen somebody from like a school in Limpopo, you know, come through and do a madness. We haven't really seen people showing up from the Northern Cape and trying to make something happen there. So it's unfortunately still along the centers of power, but it is definitely much better than it used to be. And I think with Kuro, as a school, Kuro is the most widespread school, and they're also one of the first schools to really start to try and push getting their kids into esports. So probably in a couple of years, we'll see some random kid from Mafikeng.
Yeah,
with,
eh?
you know, Kuro
From
in the
Fostoras.
I knew it. There it is. I was waiting for it.
Now, gents, we've spoken about the future, but now it's time to play a game. A game that includes cards and putting you guys on the spot. Are you ready for that?
We're ready, brother. Bring it. Bring it.
Perfect. You know, getting kids involved in anything is always easier when they're at school, not just for them, but the parents as well. They can be exposed early to what esports is all about. And we've seen the schools that can give young players a chance to get involved, even if they're from places that esports haven't fully reached yet, like Free State or Limpopo. Speaking of young players though, let's see how you would rate your favorite young players in our fun new segment.
All right, guys, so we've got a couple of cards here, Ane. We've got some amazing South African talent here.
Okay.
What we're going to do is we're going to choose a card. I think, George, you and I will choose the same card, whatever it is, and then I'll pass it on to you. You can choose a card too. Once you get your card and it's time for you to reveal your card, you have to tell us why you think this is one of the best players we have right now on home soil. Are we in agreement?
Okay, that sounds easy.
Okay. Yeah, you say it's easy and then you pull Sibumbanza out of here. Okay, I think you take this one.
Let me take this
Okay,
one.
keep it hidden. Let's go.
Okay.
All right. All right.
Can I peek?
No, you can't peek. Otherwise, we get an unfair advantage.
Unfair advantage, man.
Yeah.
You know what?
Take off the top. Okay, here we go. Wasabi first. 3, 2, 1.
For Sibu.
Yebo. Oh, come on.
This should be easy.
We've already won, George,
this should
and we
be
just
easy.
started.
This should
Okay,
be easy.
we have the one and only Rida April. Okay, last year, Rida, top 6. VS Gaming E-Disky.
Yes.
Okay, so that's not even a question. That's how we know he's one of the best. Just straight away to even get there on that stage.
Fair.
Okay, High School Esports League, not top 6. He won that one. Okay, and now he's going to this year. I feel like win it again. He's going to go back, try hit it a back-to-back and win it again.
Defend his title. What can I think of? His brother, rated one of the top 5,
Yes,
top 3 players.
top 3.
So it's like a master training
Okay.
the young apprentice.
Wexon.
Oh, guys, he's a grasshopper.
It's not even a question.
Obviously, that metal is bending that boy to be one of the best players in the country.
He won with, he got top 6 with 80K.
Yes.
Goliath Gaming came and said,
Took
we
him.
want him.
Yes.
If Goliath Gaming wants you, that's how you know already.
Come on,
It's chai.
guys.
It's
Come
not
on.
even a question.
You know what?
Don't even
Fold your cards.
Segment over.
Segment is over. I
Thank you
don't
very
think-
much. Okay, fine. Tendo,
Let's see what you got.
Let's see what you got.
How do I top that one off?
Nah, it's fine. You see what Redar's doing? Silence them, just like he's doing in that picture.
Guys, okay, here we go.
What you got? What you got?
Oh.
Okay.
I've got the youngster FMP. I think for me, immediately the first thing that I'm going to note is Paul Royce has been mostly known as a Counter-Strike school.
Sure.
So to see them rising now and entering the EAFC, scene means that this boy has got to be really good. In his school, he plays a little bit of an unconventional team with Liverpool, throughout the qualifiers. So that's quite interesting. He's bringing a new level of play compared to everybody else who's leaning more towards the Real Madrid. That's what's more on meta. He's trying to find his own feet and have his own footing inside of this one. I think just overall he's still young. He still has a long way to go, a lot to learn. I think especially representing the school that he is representing, he's got big shoes to fill in to make sure, especially looking at all the sponsors that he has. He has to represent them well. And I think just tactically, throughout qualifiers, he's been really good as well in terms of just some defensive plays. Gets some really good through ball runs as well. I've seen in some of the clips that I've watched. I think. He's top rated, a little bit harder to...
He ain't reader.
Guys, please. It's hard to explain my case when you guys have it.
You got a tough draw.
I got a tough one. I got a tough one.
You got a tough draw.
Let's see.
Yeah, let's go.
Well, we thank you, brother, because now I don't have to do it. Made my life a little bit easier. Let's go. Easiest day of my life. Hamza. Put your cards down, boys. Nobody wants to see any of that
Who
trash.
set these cards together?
I think you cheated. I think you cheated.
Okay.
The face, nah? The new face. Redar was the flavor of the month for a while. He's still pretty good, right? But then Goliath said, that's not good enough, right? We want the new face. We want a guy who plays a style of football that literally nobody else does, right? We want a guy who people who are winning tournaments, right, come back to us and say, "Ish, bro, playing Hamza sucked. Win, lose, or draw, it was not a fun time to go up against this guy. He's putting in so much work." This is a man burst out onto the scene, already about to go to his first big tournament. He's already going to be in HSEL. You think Redar's going to hold that crown now, boys?
I think Redar's going to hold that crown.
Look, we're looking at a guy, right, who in the future, like I said earlier, I think he's going to be magnificent, right? But even in this season, right now, as we're speaking, there's a non-zero chance that he's the guy that walks out of Comic-Con with 2 trophies.
Wow.
Let's calm down. Let's calm down.
Okay, I'm coming back onto my guy over here.
We are not convinced.
No. Dark Horse. Dark Horse, everybody. Dark Horse over here.
Yeah.
We hear it, nah?
We don't have enough information. There's too much information on your guys' players. Redar,
You're saying him being mysterious.
Yeah, he's mysterious. We don't know exactly what's going to come out of FMP. He might shock us all.
I'm just saying, right, that Redar, April, FMP, nah? Have none of them in a competitive game have got 10 gold plus.
That's kind of unfair.
Listen, guys, did you guys know that playing this game or playing any game is actually in your genes?
Yes?
It was researched.
Talk about it.
It was researched by scientists. Don't look it up right now. Wait for the episode to finish.
Okay.
But it's in your genes. So if you come from greatness, if you're a sibling or a child of a great person, you're most likely to not only be as great as them, but possibly be better than them.
Do you guys understand that Redar doesn't have to go into the office to go play against the best?
Because he's got the best at home.
At home, he's getting
They're practicing right now.
His older brother just pulls him out of the sheets like this, and sits him in his gaming chair. Ahlal, man.
You see, who are these guys practicing against?
Listen, you have to remember,
AI?
they're part of the same org, nah? Do you have any idea how many men this guy has behind him to practice with, nah? There's a line, long line. You could make 2 FIFA teams just with the amount of people he could be practicing with.
I'm coming back over here. Massive school.
Sure.
Massive facilities. There's enough people for him to play against. And clearly, him qualifying to the high school esports league means he's got something to show, guys. Please, you guys gotta back me up over here a little
He
bit.
does have something to show. I'll give you that. What I do like about the thing you mentioned, right? His through ball plays, nah? The fact that he does it reliably and consistently. It's actually a really hard thing to master as a FIFA player. So I'll give him that.
If we can rate here, let's be all fair. Let's rate them from 1 to 3.
The 1 to how much?
1 to 3.
No,
Like,
he's saying
in
who's at the
order.
top at the bottom.
Yeah.
Hey.
Obviously, Reader's number 1.
Yes, we know that.
Then maybe Hamza.
No. Obviously,
You know.
Hamza number 1.
Look,
Hamza number
let me
2.
squash the argument. I'll be fair and put him at number 3 for sure.
Yes.
So he's down there. We can talk maybe about these
Let
two.
me hold it. Okay.
That's number
We can talk
that's
about
number
these.
three.
Yeah, that's definitely number 3. And maybe these two now, you guys can hash it out. I'm out. I've played my
This
case.
is number one.
I really agree.
this
that
is
it's
number one.
I think when you've won the high school esports league, you know what it takes for you to go in again and double down.
I hear that, right? And he has won it. I'm not going to take anything away from him. But he won. That was his first time being in high school esports league, right? And he ended up doing really, really well. It was his first time being in eDisc. He ended up doing really, really well, right? Based on what I see when these guys play, I see nothing to suggest that Hamza can't do the same, right? He's going into his first HSCL, right? I'm backing him to win. He's going into his first eDisc. I'm backing him. Okay, it's going to be a tough one, that one. But
It
he could
will be
still
a
win.
tough one.
But he could still win, right? And remember, my boy Reda here, bless him, we love him, right? He's not at this year's eDisc. He failed to qualify.
I don't think we were going to
Okay.
talk about that.
Why did we have to
Why
bring
did
that
you bring
up?
that
You
up?
know,
I don't know why.
So this man did not fail to qualify. He's in both of the tournaments. Like I said, I haven't seen Reda put 10 past a man. I haven't seen the FMP put 10 past a man, but I've seen it multiple times with Hamza. He plays the most interesting style. I'm sorry, he's just got to be the number one right now.
All right, so you've heard it here first. Unfortunately, we didn't get the number one spot. I think
I got a number three spot, man.
Yeah, we don't even discuss finish. I think Snare made a pretty good point
Yeah.
of who he thinks is the number one. But we want to hear it from you guys at home. Who do you think takes that number one spot? Maybe they're not part of our list. Maybe they're just part of yours. Let us know. It's at VS Gaming World. I would love to hear what you think.
All right, Bafetu, that's it from us for this episode, but we still have more Talking VS for you this season with the best experts from the VS family.
Next week, we will continue the conversation and let you in on all the way to going pro. But till then, if you want to stay updated on all things VS Gaming, head over to at VS Gaming World on all social media platforms.
Yeah, yeah.